Hello again. This time we will be talking about the economy. So, how to get to it is click on your flag and then go to the bag of money. So, this is our basic screen here as to what's going on. So, notice we are currently running a negative, mainly due to the troops we've lost and we have to regain, which has pushed our army maintenance up. You see, it's costing us 4.4 gold for reinforcements. This won't last very long. It'll last only until they're replaced. So this is very much a blip on the radar here. However, we can set these different values with these sliders, so we don't have any colonies, but they all require different amounts of. So if we were to say bring this all the way down, our troops would have almost no morale at all. That's very, very bad. However, at all the way to the right, it's a max, and then you can have a various amount. So if you want your troops to say, so the main reason you do this is, let's say you're at this, someone declares war on you. You then immediately bring it all the way to the top. What happens is it takes several months, probably about 2 months or so, for your troops to get fully organized and have the max morale value. So if it's a sneak attack and you're a small nation on a border, you might get trumped by the computer while you're still organizing your forces. So you might want to set it at a slightly lower value, but normally it's usually either max or min, and usually nothing else. Fleet maintenance is a bit different since your trade ships, which we haven't messed with yet, but we will, also react to that. I usually always keep it at the max unless I'm a nation like Germany or somebody else that I know will never really deal with any of that. So that's it for the economy screen. Inflation here, we don't have any, but certain events and certain things you do, such as defaulting on loans, will raise your inflation, which basically raises the cost of everything. So it's a direct drain on your money supply. So having a low inflation is always good. Having a gold mine, like the Austrians, will increase your inflation at a slow rate. However, if you have, so I plan to eventually take this gold mine here, but if we have, if it's a very slow inflation increase, it's not a very big deal, and there are ways to deal with it. Trade is where we'll really be getting into for this. So there was some new changes to trade that came out due to the new expansion to the game. I do not have it on this one yet, and that would be far too detailed for just a basic course as to what we're doing. So if you noticed here, I went down and changed to the trade map mode. And this is the trade. So note the arrows. This is the flow of goods and money. Basically all the goods are represented by money. So note Constantinople is a major trade hub, obviously. Alexandria, major trade hub. These are called, I guess, dead-end hubs here. So notice there's no money leaving. So money flows to Venice, but it doesn't leave. This is extremely useful, obviously, for the people here. Another one is Antwerp, is another node where money flows in, but it never leaves. These nodes are basically endpoints for the cash flow. They'll always end up somewhere. There are some nodes that have no, they only leave. I'm not sure we have any in this immediate area. Siam's a good one. So if you notice, money flows out of Siam only. So that's bad if you're over here, but it's not that big of a deal. For example, if you're one of these nations here, if you conquer a little land, you can then get the money from here and the money from around here. It's important to notice where the arrows are going, though, so you know how to direct your money supply. So our goal is in our capital, especially since it's a port city. Well, actually, we're right here right now. But this is our trade node. This is where our money comes through. We will be getting. We want as much money to flow to this area as possible. So notice Alexandria, we are pushing more money to the north here, to our trade node. And these are the two main ways you use a merchant. You can either collect the money, which you always collect from a capital. So you actually don't need a merchant in your capital, but he gives you a 10% bonus to the amount of money you get. So notice we get 1.29 and our merchant gives us 10%. However, if we have trade power in another area, which we really don't right now, we can push more money our way. So let's say, alright, so let's look at this, the trade node screen. So what this shows us is that most of the money is staying in our node. Some of it's being pulled away, mainly by all these other nations here. And you can mouse over them for it. And these are all the nations trying to keep the money here. And down here is a much more detailed look. This is saying we have a merchant, and this is somebody pushing it. We're collecting money here, and this is how much. And these are any bonuses or negatives we get to it. So getting here, these are our trade power, which is how much basically influence you have in the trading zone. So there's a couple ways of dealing with that. The first is trading vessels. So light ships are all trading vessels. You'll see here that one of the options is to protect trade, which is their main function. So let's click that, and we'll set them to go. Well, they can stay. So now we have to say where we put them. So you can only usually send them to places you have trade power in. The two main places we could send them are really Alexandria and Constantinople. We'll send them to Constantinople for now just to see how this functions. So we'll set that, go back to it. So notice right now we have, gives us 2 from our merchant. We're at 32.9 with 2 trade power from ships or merchants. Let us unpause the game and get that moving. So now we've just jumped up to 17. So we've gained a bunch of trade power, which puts us just still barely under. But notice our amount of money, so I think we're at like 1.4. Now we're at 1.79. Because of the amount of extra trade power, we now get a bigger slice of this pie here and the amount of money that we get to keep. So for example, if if 4.7 is staying in here, then we get a larger chunk of that money pie. So once we take over Constantinople and the like, it'll increase even more since it's a trade city, but for whatever, you basically want to have higher numbers here. Now another way we can do this is, let's find our ships. Where'd they go? So we start the game with 2 merchants. The other one is down here in Alexandria. So this check mark here is the direction of flow. So this guy is, actually he's collecting from trade. Wait, no he's not. He shouldn't be. He should be pushing. Where are we? Yeah, he's transferring trade power. I'm not sure why it says collect from trade. But he's actually, so he is pushing this money supply. I don't really want it. Let's try one of these other ones. So notice where it says collect from trade or transfer. We can, if we transfer the trade, which is what he's doing here in Alexandria, is you put your power and you push money in your direction. So the more merchants you have, the more money you can push in your direction. However, if you have a merchant but no actual any trade power, then you're really not doing too much. So notice right now 1.14 are way down here, the Ottomans. We have a total of 4.7 trade power, which is very little. We're not really doing much. We're putting 1.14 here. We're pushing that much money to this trade node. And note, we won't actually get all this money. It'll go to this pile of money, which we can slowly start to take. So if we send our ships down to Alexandria instead, we can see as this number will change slightly. once the extra trade power shows up. So there we go. So now it's 1.57. So note we've moved up. We're just under the Ottomans here in the amount of total trade. So they still have the vast majority, 42% of it. So you can move your ships here to take that money supply. You can to move that money supply around. So we don't have very many trade ships right now. We're probably just going to wherever I can find them, bring them back home. But that's how you can influence the flow of money back to your capital. That's how trade works. There's, like I said, the expansion offered a few other things like trading companies and trade zones and things like that. Don't really have to worry about it too much. Here's some of the stats for trading. So efficiency just gives you a straight up bonus to your trade. Tech raises it. Also a few of the merchant or economic and trade ideas will change that. Trade range is how far away you can do this. So for example, I can't say pull money from like the Americas or Africa or something like that, simply because I don't have this trade range is not high enough. So we can increase this slowly, usually through technology. Trade steering is a bonus for how much we push that that money towards us. So the higher number, the better. Trade income is just a straight up, we get more money from trade. Also very nice. Mercantilism is how much we're getting bonus trade power to our provinces. So this is very useful as well. A higher mercantilism will give us bonus trade power in areas where we have provinces. Privateers, we don't really have to worry about too much. It basically turns some of your ships into pirates and then has them fight other nations. Really don't have to worry about that too much. And then these are some bonuses you get for if you're inland or not. Nothing to really worry about. And here you can these are all the areas where we could send a merchant. So instead of clicking on the map and then looking at this gives you a nice bird's eye view, but you could just do all of that from here. And this obviously is how much money you're making. As the Ottomans, you will get a ton of money from trade later on. Right now, not so much, but if you can start taking over part of the Mediterranean here and directing lots of money your way, you'll see a ton of money start flowing. And that's about it for basic economics. We'll get into building things and building